Today, we have a very interesting topic to talk upon. Should death penalty be abolished or not? On the dais, we have Ojaswini to speak for the motion and Pratik for against. Let's start off with the debate. Pratik, what are your views on this topic?
Thank you, Vishwa, for having me over here. So, I am Pratik Mahapatra and I am speaking against this topic. According to my views, if abolished, every criminal may take a chance again and again. Crime rate shoots up and reaches peak on a particular day. The lives of innocent people are taken away by criminals in rapes, murders, etc. Why they are to be tolerated. Life of such criminals can no longer be valuable than compared to innocent peoples or victims.
Moving on, Ojaswini, what are your views on this topic?
Hi, thank you for having me here, Vishwa. I'm Ojaswini and I'm speaking for the motion. The supporters of the death penalty often pose arguments that cite retribution for violent crimes as being instrumental in justice. However, several studies and research has shown that taking the life of another human being through capital punishment only perpetuates the cycle of violence. Furthermore, other research has shown that flaws in our justice system has led to innocents being prosecuted, guilty being set free, and a plethora of other biases being present during the capital punishment cases.
So, Ojaswini, that's a very good point to be noted there. So, now Pratik, what do you think about classifying crimes and sentencing them to death penalty? What are your views on it?
Okay, Vishwa, that was a really good question. Now, okay, so you're asking if it's right for us to classify people according to their crimes. Now, what I think is we should classify the convicts into three categories. The first category is one who commits the crime because of poverty and exploitation, thereby leading to the denial of leading a dignified life. For example, the Somalian pirates or the Rohingya migrants. They totally fall under this category. Now, I'll talk to you about the second category. One who commits such crimes out of impulse or emotional outbursts, like killing people instantaneously without any cooling off period, like spree killers. The spree killers in recent California church, you must have heard of it. Now, the third category, a serial killer who does not show any remorse or guilt, or does the act repeatedly after a cooling off period, or dictator committing a genocide for his ambitions. For example, Ted Bundy, Jack the Ripper, perverts who molest 3 or 5-year-old and kill them. So, what do you get by classifying these people? Thus, what I think is by classifying people based on the circumstances, we can give punishments accordingly, along with considering the quantum of the crime. So, these are my views on this question.
So, you're seeing criminals should be classified under their degree of crime committed and sentence them to death.
Yeah, that's right.
A point to be noted. Okay, now Ojaswini, do you think the crime rate is decreasing or increasing due to the death penalty?
See, we need to eradicate crime and not the criminals. What criminals need is counseling and therapy. Capital punishment doesn't help us removing the crime. We are a civilized society, and how civilized is it to kill a human? And some might argue that death penalty creates a fear in the mind of people and stops them from committing a crime. I don't see the crime rates decreasing. In fact, they're increasing. Also, that how do we call it a society where fear is to be generated in order to maintain law and order?
So, Ojaswini made a point saying that you should kill crimes and not the criminals. Do you think it is possible in today's world? What do you say, Pratik?
Okay, Vishwa, Ojaswini has sure stated a very noble thought of changing a criminal into a good person. But what we need to understand over here is that these ideals don't work in real life. We need a more practical solution for it. Now, you can't change a high degree criminal into a good person like that. So, what I think is the only solution for criminals who perform high degree crimes is death penalty. I think that is the only way how it will work. So that is why I think that death penalty should not be abolished from India.
Pratik, I don't really agree with you on that. Why is there a need of such a punishment? Like, if we analyze the past, it came into existence because we wanted to take revenge, torture, and feel comfortable by taking some sort of control over others. During centuries, punishments, tortures are used for such purposes, and in the course of time, we have learned how to change our views and our ways to see the world. In the system of justice and law, there is no need of such punishment. We can have better law and punishment system to tackle crimes. It is a pity that we support death punishment by saying that India is corrupted or a religious country. We need to change the system and make it uncorrupted and more lawful, and just death punishment is really not serving anything. Killing the person is like pointless.
So moving on, let's talk about this issue. How does it affect our country's economy? Do we actually waste money on these criminals because we provide them all their adequate needs in the prison or not? What are your views on this, Pratik?
Well, Vishwa, what I think is the efficient people of the country deposit tax earnestly to the government for the betterment of the society and not for feeding the empty stomachs of criminals. I strongly oppose the option of life imprisonment. Many say death penalty is a heartless attempt, but I say it's not. Killing the criminal at once is better than letting him rot in his jail.
Pratik, it's time to got your facts right. The cost of the death penalty as opposed to a life sentence is exponential due to extra measures taken in judicial proceedings, lawyer fees, extended trials, and expert witnesses. Costs end up being higher. A study by Sacramento Bee noted that California would save 90 million US dollars per year if it were to completely eliminate the death penalty.
Penalty is more costlier than life imprisonment. A very good point to be noted, Ojaswini. Now we reached the climax of our debate. It was a very nice debate. So, to our closing remarks, how would you like to close, Pratik?
Okay, so here we come to my concluding statement. What I would like to conclude is, while majority of the nations have abolished judicial hangings in the later half of the 20th century, we must still remember that nations that have abolished it are low populous states with high per capita income (GDP), where the crime residence is very low. You need to that's a very important point. And also the most populous nations of the world, including India, China, Pakistan, and USA, still have judicial hangings. Now that's for a reason, right? And in general, the death penalty should not be used for common criminals. Life in prison without the possibility of parole is technically a death sentence, and criminals usually get raped and killed in prison. In my opinion, however, there are some criminals who cause massacres, such as the Newtown shooter. Now, for criminals like this, only one punishment works, that is death penalty.
So, Pratik made his concluding statement. Now, moving on, Ojaswini, can you give your closing remarks?
Okay, so this is how I would like to conclude my debate. What difference would it make if we go on killing the people who have committed the heinous crimes like rape, murder, terror attacks, or any such crime that causes life loss on a large scale? By killing the person, we would just add another name to that list. Every person is guilty of the crimes at some point or the other. Crimes are still committed even though there are laws and punishments. And the only way these crimes can be stopped is by changing the mindset of the people. And we need to bring a change in how we think, and that is how we will be able to stop the crimes. Death sentence is no solution.